it's your boy Hellfish here with another awesome Nuke tutorial. Today I'm just going to show you guys some of the basics. We're just going to load in some footage, we're going to apply a couple effects, and then we're going to export our result. And in the process we're going to learn a few things about how to get around in the Nuke interface. And you guys are going to like this, so here we go. Jumping right in. First thing I'm going to tell you up front is I love using the keyboard. We got to use the keyboard all the time. Looking for icons is chump's work. We don't want to do that. So to get footage into Nuke, we need to read it in. So we hit R on our keyboard for read. That lets us import files. Now we already made this in a previous tutorial. We're just going to import this Tiff sequence. If you don't know how to make a Tiff sequence, I highly recommend you use Tiff sequences. I got a previous tutorial on making Tiff sequences. You go ahead and click over around here somewhere. I'll probably put an annotation. So yeah, go ahead and click OK. Now we're in it. Now I'm going to scrub the timeline. Now I can't see anything. It's because our viewer here isn't connected. Now we could drag this line up here and connect it, but we're not going to do that because that's chump's work. We're just going to click on our read node here and hit the 1 key on our keyboard. That connects our viewer up automatically. Now we're scrubbing like a bubble. Perfect. Now the next thing we're going to do is save our project. Always save your project right away. The reason that we save our project is because Nuke does autosaves. Basically every second. Every time you do anything at all, it autosaves to a separate file. That file won't exist anywhere unless you've saved the first file. So we're going to call this Shame .nk. Nuke loves it when you type in your file extensions by yourself. Don't rely on Nuke or Windows to put them in for you. Look down here. See, we're making NK files. Type .nk. Save. Now we're good. One more thing you got to do. We're going to hit S on our keyboard to set our project settings. Change our full size format here to the same format as our footage. Now if you look over here, here's our settings for our read footage. This is 1280 by 720. So we're going to come up here to our project settings and set it to 1280 by 720. These project settings, if you're coming from After Effects, are kind of like your comp settings. You want to make sure that they're the right format, because when you go to export, this kind of data is going to be in your comp. So yeah, now we're looking at our footage. It's looking good. At this point, we're going to want to insert an effect. So click on your read node here and hit Tab. Tab lets you search for any kind of node that you want to add. We're just going to go ahead and add a blur node. Arrow down, hit Enter. Now since our read node was already selected, the blur node has been inserted in between our viewer and the read node. This is great. This is exactly what we want. Up here, the settings for the blur node are already in place. We can adjust the size. And look at that, our footage is already becoming blurry. Nuke is very fast. So, as we scrub through, we can see our footage is blurred. This is great. Now, if your monitor isn't as big as mine, you might have trouble seeing the whole thing at once. You might have to zoom out. To do that, we use the mouse wheel, in and out. You can also click the mouse wheel in once, and it will zoom to the best zoom setting that it can fit. See, if I click it here, it doesn't do anything. That's because it can't fit anything bigger. It will also only zoom to good increments. See, this is 50%, this is 100%. You don't want some kind of weird 67.92% because then your pixels won't be accurate. Nuke loves accuracy, as do I. So you can also do that on this on the node graph here. Zoom in and out. Click once with your middle mouse button to see everything at once. Perfect. Now, one thing you're going to get in trouble with, I did this all the time, is you're going to want to hit space to play back your timeline. Doesn't do anything. It just makes your current selection big. If we click down here and do space, we get a big node graph. If we do it up here, we get a big viewer. That's cool. That's basically the same thing as the tilde button, whatever this key is. I'm clicking it here. That one. The one next to your 1 key if you have a US keyboard. That one in After Effects does the same thing as the space key. Perfect. Middle click and drag, you can pan it around. That's the same as After Effects. Pretty great. Now, how would you play forward? Actually, the same keys as in Premiere. You hit L to go forward, K to pause, and J to go backwards. The arrow keys left and right will go frame by frame. Page up and page down will do exactly the opposite of what you'd expect. Absolutely nothing. However, it is changing some viewer settings. Don't want that, so we're just going to leave this at RGBA and RGBA alpha. Viewer settings can get a little complicated. We're going to go into those in a previous video. We're going to go over these in a future video. So now we've got our blurred footage. How do we export this? Well, there's no save. We can save our comp, but we can't export it. What we want to do is actually create a write node. Just as we read our footage in with a read node, we're going to write our footage out with a write node. The shortcut for that is W for write. Click that. We can go ahead and connect this to our blur node, just where our viewer is connected to. See? So just what our viewer sees, which is the blur node, just is the same thing our write node is going to see. We're going to make a file in here. We'll call it, let's make a new folder. Love making these new folders. Oh, geez. New folder, and this is going to be sys e from Nuke. And we're going to make another TIFF sequence in here, because I love TIFF sequences. TIFF from Nuke. Now here's the very important thing when you're doing TIFF sequences from Nuke. You have to put these number signs in. And they have to be at least as many frames as you have. So if you have, I'm sorry, I explained that improperly, but say if you have 10,000 frames, you need 5 digits there. You need a number sign for every digit. And if your frames are numbered incorrectly, even if you only have 12 frames, but they start at frame 12,000, you need to have enough number signs to cover the full 12,000. So you put your extension in there. Always put the extension. Nuke will know that you want to do a TIFF. After Effects, if you're going to bring this into After Effects, it actually likes if you don't do deflate. So just do none for your compression options on your TIFF. And you go ahead and click render. It should automatically take the frame range, and you hit OK. And you're off to the races. Hey, if you guys like this tutorial, click the like button. If you guys want to subscribe, click the subscribe button. If you guys want to leave a comment, go ahead and leave a comment below. Bye!